When I think of my 10 best players in world football this season, there's a lot of things that factor into my rankings. The level of competition you play in, the teams you play against, the performance level in each of those games in terms of are you the first or second best player on your team most games, or basically every game. Are you the first or second best player on your team? Your GA matters, obviously. If you're an attacker, it matters a little bit more. And then if you've missed some games, if you have some injuries, maybe you got a red card, maybe all those things factor into why a player would be ranked higher than another player, or why a player that you assume would be ranked very highly, falls down the list. So there's a lot of things that factor into my thinking, but these are the 10 best players for me this season, in my opinion, in world football. Now, before I get to anything in this video, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're so close to 400. Hopefully, by the end of this week, you can get there, and I appreciate you guys so much. Now, without further ado, number 10 is Lamine Yamal. And Lamine Yamal, like I said, is only this low because of the injuries and the missed games, right? And maybe playing through some games not fully fit. We all understand that if Lamine Yamal was fully fit, he would be easily top 5 in this list, right? But the reason that he's this low is because of the injuries that he's had. But the games that he's played, the actual games that he's played, the performances in those games so far this season have been nothing short of incredible. He's been outstanding in basically every game. Maybe the Clasico was the only game that you could say he was really terrible in. But I watched that game, he didn't really look like he was fit. So he hasn't really been playing this season fit, but what he has done when he's played football this season has been nothing short of incredible. He's just been outstanding, and he always finds ways to create or score for Barcelona. Anytime this guy is just 75% fit and he's on the pitch for Barcelona, he's going to do something. He's going to create havoc for the opposing team. And the only reason he's this low on this list is because of the injuries. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about Lamine Yamal. I think we all know how good he is. We all know where he deserves to be on this list when fully fit, when playing all the games. But for this specific video, for this season specifically, he's the 10th best player in my eyes performing this season. Number 9, staying in La Liga, Julian Alvarez. Now, Atletico Madrid will go as far as Julian Alvarez takes them. This is one of those players that when he's on form for Atletico Madrid, they can beat anybody. And that's not something that I'm comfortable saying, that's not something I'm comfortable saying because I don't really enjoy watching Atletico Madrid play football. I don't really enjoy watching their games, but I watch their games really because of him and because of what Simeone can cook up on that right wing. That's really I like Baena, I like Almada. They have some nice players that I liked watching in their previous clubs, but I really only watch Atletico Madrid mostly because of Julian Alvarez, and he really rarely disappoints. This guy scores a worldie basically once in every 5 games. He scores an incredible goal that you haven't seen. You just don't see many players that score those types of goals on a consistent basis. He's one of those free kicks, right foot, left foot. Even his leaping ability for someone that's not the biggest biggest of players, he always finds a way to just contribute. And in a system, Atletico Madrid, where it's not really the most fluid. I know Simeone has gone to a more attacking kind of style of play, kind of abandoned the defensive side as much as he used to back in those days, the Godin days and all those guys. They're still not the most fluid attacking. Like, for example, they're not a Madrid or a Barcelona or maybe even a Villarreal. Villarreal even look more fluid than Atletico Madrid. But Julian Alvarez is such a key piece in that team that everything that kind of goes well with that team usually starts with something that Alvarez does. And the fact that he's contributing so many, chances created in the Champions League, goals as well in the Champions League. I think he has 3 and 3 goals and assists in the Champions League. Overall, like 13 or so GA in 15 games. So he's been performing at an exceptional level, and that's why he's number 9 on this list. I think even taking into account the last couple of seasons, you look at the strikers in world football, you can make an argument to be a top 5, striker in world football. I think that's a valid argument that he could make. So on this list, though, he's number 9 this season. Number 8 is Declan Rice. Now, an Arsenal player had to make this top 10 list because Arsenal have arguably been maybe the best or second best team in world football, maybe behind Bayern Munich. But Declan Rice, this season has kind of taken his game to a new level. The fact that every single corner kick he takes is accurate, it's on point. It causes havoc in the opposing team's box. And every single corner kick seems to result in a shot on goal or a header. His free kicks are the exact same. His delivery from open play and from set plays are exceptional. I don't think any player in world football right now can chat to him when it comes to the delivery of the ball. And that plays that ranks very highly in my opinion. I know people want to say, oh, Arsenal or set piece FC set. Well, if everybody could do it, everybody would do it. If your team could score off set pieces once every 2 games, basically, you would want them to do it. But you can't, because you don't have maybe the Gabriel or whoever, but you also don't have this level of delivery that this guy can produce for Arsenal and for England. And it's going to be so key moving forward, when injuries happen and injuries happen, maybe Saka's out, Odegaard's out, Gabriel's out, any one of these guys are out, they cannot lose Declan Rice, because what he gives them on the defensive side of the ball, what he gives them driving in midfield, what he gives them in his ball recoveries, what he gives them with his ball striking, with his set piece delivery, I would argue he might be Arsenal's most important player, because Saliba and Gabriel go down, okay, that's terrible. But Mosquera and Capie, these guys are able and capable replacements, right? They can kind of steady the ship a little bit. They don't have a single player in that team that can do what Declan Rice does in totality. They don't even have a player in that team that can deliver a dead ball like him. Talk less of recover the ball like him, drive with the ball like him. So he's kind of maybe the most complete player in that Arsenal team, maybe the most important player in that Arsenal team. And that's why, for me this season, watching Arsenal's games, watching England's game, I think he's been at least the 8th best player in world football this season. Number 7 is Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford with 13, I think 6 or 7 goals, 6 or 7 assists, somewhere around there this season. Marcus Rashford wholeheartedly deserves to be on this list, in my opinion, from what I've seen this season, because what he's given Barcelona from a dynamism standpoint has been incredible. He's been extremely efficient in his play. I think what we see from Rashford in the last couple of seasons with United, with Aston Villa, it seemed like a player that wasn't really settled, right? We know his talent level, we know the skill set that he possesses, we know how quick he is with the ball, how much he can dribble, through a defense, his ball striking ability. It seems like in Barcelona, everything's now packaged correctly. It seems like he's in a comfortable environment, comfortable position, and now his performances are reflecting that. He's looking a lot more polished and a lot more consistent in his performances. Yeah, he's take the occasional, poor shot. Bodies overlapping. He shoots instead of passing on the overlap. But what he's done this season has been extremely, extremely noteworthy. And I think if Barcelona want to win this league, this Champions League, Rashford is going to be a key piece in that team, because we saw what they had with Lamine Yamal last season and Rafinha last season. And I think the workload that those guys kind of went through is why you're seeing Rafinha's been injured most of the season. Why you're seeing Lamine Yamal has kind of been injured in and out of the season. For example, Pedri has been injured, so they need Rashford. And I think when you look at all those kind of other players, you look at the big 3 of Lewandowski, Rafinha, and Yamal last season, when I look at who can be the next guy to step up for them, I think Rashford is the best player available out of the rest, right? Out of the Firmins, out of the Olmos, out of the Ferran Torres. I think he's the overall best player, just career-wise and just overall talent as well. I think he's the best player, and he's the one that needs to step up the most if Barcelona want to go far in either of this competition. So Rashford for me has been the 7th best player in world football this season. Number 6, Dominik Szoboszlai. Dominik Szoboszlai is the only shining light in that Liverpool team this season. He's the only player that when I watch my team play, Szoboszlai is the only player that I actually can applaud off the pitch every single game. Yeah, some guys will have good games but he's the only one on a consistent basis every single game that I can say, okay, this guy, you're trying the hardest. You're contributing the most. You're doing the best. You're playing right back. You're playing DM, 6 in a double pivot. You're playing in the 8. You're playing in the 10. Sometimes when Florian Wirtz goes into the false 9, you're playing left wing. You play in basically every position imaginable, and you're doing an amazing job in every single one of them. So I have no complaints about Dominic Szoboszlai as a Liverpool fan this season. It's the other players that I'm complaining about. But then you factor in his performances for Hungary in the World Cup qualifications, and I know the way everything fell flat at the end. My heart was broken for him because he deserved a lot more than that. What he gave the Hungarian national team, what he gave Hungary as a nation in this qualification period is exceptional. You struggle to find a player pound for pound that performed better than Szoboszlai in these qualifications. I'm not talking about, like for example, Bruno Fernandes and João Neves were cooking against Armenia 9-1. Like, yeah, they should. But Hungary doing what they did and Szoboszlai doing what he did and getting so close. Oh my, I just wish he could have made it, because I feel he would not have let his team lose if they got to the qualification playoffs, in the spring. I feel like he would have pushed Hungary to the World Cup, and that would have just cemented his legacy as a Hungarian great, right? That alone would have been, I think only Puskás could be above him at that point. I don't know any other Hungarian legends. I might be disrespecting Hungary as a nation. Sorry if I'm missing any other legends, but Puskás is the only one I really know. But his performances this season for Hungary have been incredible. That performance against Portugal, the goal and the assist, that's Hungary against Portugal. Like, you have to understand that this is the top 10 team, in world football, top 10, top 15 maybe, and maybe the 40th, 50th ranked nation in the world. And that's what he was doing against Portugal. So, Dominic Szoboszlai is a complete midfielder. A lot of the Liverpool fans have been saying, they're seeing shades of Stevie G in him. I mean, I'm not going to say it out loud, but I see a lot of good things in Dominic Szoboszlai. I don't want to put too much, pressure on him or I'm just going to enjoy what I'm seeing for now. But for me, this season, he's been the sixth best player in the world. Number 5 is Pedri. Pedri has missed the last couple of games, since the Madrid Clásico. He's missed a couple of games. But before that, this was the best midfielder in the world. This is the best midfielder in the world in my estimation. And because of that, what he did in the first, I think up until the end of October, he wholeheartedly deserves to be on this list because he's the best midfielder in the world in my eyes. The way this guy controls a game, the way he completes passes, the way he recovers the ball, strong on the tackle, recovers the ball, can make any pass you need him to make, can contribute with goals and assists if you need him to do that. He does every single thing you need from a complete midfielder. And to me, he's the most complete midfielder. And it's interesting to see how Barcelona will kind of push forward, without him. I don't know the expected return date for him. Let me just check that real quick if I can check when he should be back. He should be back at the end of this month, at the end of November. So if he's back by the end of November, great for Barcelona. I don't think they have any huge games, between this period and then. But hopefully, if you can come back, let me just check. Chelsea, Atletico Madrid. Yeah, so just Chelsea is the biggest game that he might miss. So hopefully he's back for the Atletico Madrid game. But he's just an incredible footballer. Like, I have no... I'm one of those people, I can't say anything bad about Pedri's game because it's just so complete to me. I don't see any flaws in his game. You might say, maybe he's not physical enough, but he just thinks ahead of the play. He's already ahead of whatever the opposition midfielder or defender is thinking. He's already thought 2 steps ahead of that. So there's no flaws in his game, and for me, this season alone, and maybe even when you look back and you peel back the layers and look at overall in world football, I mean, he could be the 5th best player in the world, pound for pound. But I think definitely he's the best midfielder in the world. And this season, I think he's also been the best midfielder in the world. Number 4 is Luis Diaz. Luis Diaz this season has been incredible. And there's been a slight drop, not too big, but a slight drop in form from Kane and Michael Olise. It's not, drastic, but from where they were at the beginning of the season to where they are now, they definitely are not as potent and not as productive as they were in the beginning of the season. And that's where you've seen Luis Diaz kind of step up. The game against PSG, performance against PSG, outstanding. Right, this is what you need from Luis Diaz. They need him in the champion. They know in the Bundesliga he will cook. He has 11 goals and 5 assists this season in like 17 games, almost a goal and assist a game this season. So they know he will cook in the Bundesliga. What they need from him is that Champions League, quality. When they go up against the likes of Arsenal, when they go up against the PSGs, when they go up against Barcelona, Madrid, whoever. That's when they need Luis Diaz the most, right? Any winger for Bayern will cook in the Bundesliga. Coman is cooked, Gnabry is cooked, Sané is cooked. All the guys are cooked. So guys will always cook. It's just a matter of, in the Champions League, what can you do? And Luis Diaz this season has taken his game to another level, it seems. It seems like there's all this talk about, he's leaving Liverpool, and there's some revisionism there. People saying, he looks better. This is kind of who Luis Diaz has always been. It's just not. You just can't do these things in the Premier League as much as you can in the Bundesliga. But he's always been a world-class player in my books. I love his work rate. I love how hard he works for the team. And then he always just have moments of magic. That's just who Luis Diaz is. The problem has always been consistency. This is the first season I've really seen it on a more consistent basis. And, I think when you play for Bayern, you can enjoy the Bundesliga kind of, maybe it's a little bit easier and it kind of boosts your confidence, boosts your momentum. You take that into the Champions League and then you look even better in the Champions League. Whereas, for example, for Liverpool, you can't just dominate every single game and then take that confidence everywhere else you go. So it's a little bit of a different situation. But for this season, what he's done this season, I have to credit him. I have to applaud him. He's been exceptional. He's been incredible. And I wish the best for Luis Diaz. Every time I watch Bayern, I'm hoping he scores. I'm hoping he goes to Colombia and he scores and he assists, because I loved him as a player. Everything he gave to Liverpool, I have to give him credit. So Luis Diaz this season has been exceptional, has been incredible. And now we move on to the top three. And I think the top three are pretty much self-explanatory. Just a matter of which order are we going to put them in. Number 3 will be Kylian Mbappe. And Kylian Mbappe, for me, is probably pound for pound, the best player in the world. In terms of all the things he can do, in terms of the pace, the finishing, the dribbling, the power, the vision, the link-up play, the speed, the athletic prowess. Like, he might be, in my opinion, the best overall player in the world. But the guys above him have been moving a little bit crazier. But Mbappe this season has been incredible in his own right. Right, it's really been Madrid go as far as Kylian Mbappe takes them. It should not be that, because you have too many stars in your team for the buck to stop with Mbappe. But the reality is, when I watch Real Madrid's games, I'm expecting him to be the one that carries that team. And yes, even in great teams, Messi was the carrier at times. Ronaldo, would carry the team. There's always going to be that one guy that really carries the team, even with other stars in the team. But in a kind of footballing world that we're in now, where it's kind of more team-based, I want all my players to press. Everybody has to play as a team. There's no, superstar. There's no Messi, Ronaldo. Everybody has to do their part. It still feels like Real Madrid are relying solely on Kylian Mbappe, and we've known Kylian Mbappe for years now. He doesn't mind shouldering all the responsibility. He didn't mind doing it at Monaco, even at times at PSG. I know Messi was there. I know Neymar was there. But for France, he's definitely shouldered the responsibility. So he doesn't mind being that guy. I just feel like Madrid have to, Vinny, Jude, Fede, like other guys have to also step up on a consistent basis, so it doesn't feel like if Mbappe has a bad game, Madrid can't win. But this season, he's been exceptional and he's been incredible. And if it was based off of just the last 5 years, overall, yeah, he's probably gonna be number 1. But this season alone, he ranks number 3 for me. Number 2 is Harry Kane, and Harry Kane, over the last couple of weeks, he's kind of fallen off the number 1 spot for me, but when I still look back at all he's done this season, I think it was 23 goals. Let me check. It has to be somewhere 23, 25 goals, somewhere around there. Let me just make sure. Yeah, 23 goals in 17 games for Bayern this season. That's incredible. That's astonishing. You multiply that by 3, he's on pace to hit 69, 70 goals this season, because Bayern will likely play, somewhere around 45 to 51 games this season. And he's doing this right now. And he's slowed down a little bit, seasons maybe has caught up to him. His hot streak is kind of slowed down. But I don't see why he can't just pick it back up and go back to what he was doing at the beginning of the season. The only reason he falls a little bit is because the last couple games, games, especially for England as well, he hasn't really done too much. But what he's done in the beginning of the season, at least up until maybe November started, incredible, outstanding, astonishing, and he's playing every part of the game. There are games where company will say, I want to play Nico Jackson this game. Harry Kane play the 10. He play the 10 at an exceptional level. Then you go and play the 9. Then if Bayern are needing to protect the lead, he'll jump into an 8 and a 6, tackle at the edge of his box, then launching a long through pass to Michael Olise or Luis Diaz. How many players in world football can do that? None. He's the only one that can actually do all those things at an elite level. How can a 9/10 also defend at an elite level? That doesn't make any sense to me. That's what a complete footballer looks like. And that's what Harry Kane is. But the only reason he's not number 1 is because number 1 is reserved for Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland this season looks a different beast, and we know what Haaland has been his whole career. We saw it at Molde. We saw it at oh my God, am I forgetting the? Let me see. Molde. What club was it? Leipzig, right? No, not Leipzig. The other Red Bull team. Red Bull Salzburg. Sorry, Molde, Salzburg, Dortmund, and now Man City. It's almost like a goal a game at every single one of those clubs. I know Molde, he kind of came off the bench a lot. Wasn't really playing that many games, full games, so his stats look worse. But we know if he had played all those games, his stats would be what they are at Salzburg, Dortmund, and Man City. But this season, yes, the goals have been flowing freely, but also the way he's linked up this season. He's dropped deep, he links up, he's become more of a creative force. And I don't think it's because he didn't have that in his game in the past. I think it's just because the way City were playing, so dominant on the ball, so possession, they had every team kind of pinned back. He didn't really get to showcase that side of his game. But now Man City with kind of a weaker midfield, not as dominant, not as controlled, you can see him kind of use his counter-attacking abilities more. You see him kind of drop deeper more. You see him use more tools in his tool bag more this season. And that's why he's looking like an even better player. I know he had all this, but he's using it now. And then you think about what he's done for Norway. Norway are going to the World Cup. Not only are Norway going to the World Cup, I want to get this right. I do not believe Norway lost the game in qualification. Yeah, 8 wins. Mind you, they played Italy, and they still won 8 games. 37 goals in those 8 games. That's almost 5 goals a game. And I guarantee you, Haaland in those games. Actually, let me not even guarantee you. Let me just check what he did in those games, because I'm fairly certain there was a game that Norway played where they had like 11 goals. They had 11 goals in that game. I just want to make sure. Moldova, yeah. 11 goals, and Haaland scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those goals. And in qualification this season alone, Haaland has 16 goals in 8 games. Erling Haaland has 16 goals in 8 games in World Cup qualification. You look at this team and you say, okay, Norway might not be the favorite to win the World Cup, but how many goals can Erling Haaland get just in the group stage alone at the World Cup next year? Depending on who's in he can score against anybody. Like, he can score against even Italy. You might say they're not the best team anymore, but Italy have always been strong defensively. and he cooked Italy at will in qualification. I don't know many teams stronger defensively than Italy, but people are lucky that Norway aren't, the biggest footballing nation. Because if you've given Holland 3 World Cups, this guy could break closest record. I'm fairly confident in saying that. If he had 3 full World Cups, he could do it. And I think he's 25 right now. If they can make it again, he'll be 29. And they make it again, he'll be 33. So he actually still could do it. It would just have been nice if he could have made the World Cup, maybe when he was 21 or 22, and then, kind of got some goals in there. But this season and this season alone, I'm seeing a different Holland. I'm seeing a hungrier Holland. I don't know what has changed in him, but he looks like even more of a beast. And I think maybe seeing De Bruyne leave the club kind of reminded him, okay, it's my club now. I need to do more. I need to kind of take on that captain role. And you've seen him wear the armband at times. I need to take on that role. Of all these players in here, I think he has the most difficult role, the most difficult job, really, because you're playing in what I think is the most difficult league. You're playing for one of the top teams, and you're playing for a team in transition, a team where Foden's kind of taking a new role, kind of playing more as an 8 now. Turkey's coming, Reinder's coming, Nico Gonzalez is playing more, Rodri's been out injured, De Bruyne just left, Bernardo Silva, is declining, Gundogan has just left again. So it's kind of everything that he came into Man City with has pretty much left or changed. And this is the first season where he's kind of like, okay, I need to be the leader of this team. And he's taken that full responsibility, and his performances are matching that. So he's number 1 for me this season in world football. And hey, let's see what happens in the World Cup. But he could be number 1 in world football in general for me by the end of the season. But that's my top 10 players in world football this season. Just top 10 performers this season. Let me know you guys' thoughts. Let me know who you think should have made the list, or who missed out. I'll give you guys some honorable mentions. Olise was an honorable mention for me. Modric is playing incredibly well in Serie A right now. Victor Osimhen is also an honorable mention for what he did, for Nigeria in qualifications. I can't believe that he got subbed off in the biggest game of the year, but he's on the Champions League as well, leading scorer. So there's players, out there that I think have been exceptional. But those are my top 10. Let me know you guys who you would have on those lists, who you would kind of move out of the list and put somebody else in place of them, or who you would rank higher than another player on my list. But let me know you guys' thoughts. Love to hear them. See you very soon. Also, subscribe to the channel. We're also close to 400 subscribers, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace out.